She's finished now.
Did you see this?
Oh, no.
Oh, I remember that something was wrong with the button on that. Nothing, I know.
She's finished now.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Oh, maybe this is not.
Oh, no.
It's not. Oh, just mute the screen itself.
Oh, no.
No, wait. Maybe this is delayed, that's why. Oh, yeah. It should stop now. Oh, maybe this is not.
Oh, no.
It's not. Oh, just mute the screen itself.
Sorry. Because we have our pro-rector for external relations, Carsten, here, and he will be giving you the welcome note.
Thank you, Marcus. And good afternoon. Welcome to everyone here at Central European University. My name is Carsten Schneider, and yes, I'm the Pro-Rector of External Relations, but also a Professor of Political Science here at CEU. And I'm pleased to welcome you here for this open day this afternoon. So I'm delighted to see you here on campus, but also we have online, so not only on site. And I have to say that for people like me, and us working at CEU, meeting and interacting with students and future students like you is really the best part of our job. So students constantly challenging us because you are creative, energetic, you are eager to learn, and you come up with new and oftentimes unsettling ideas that challenge the beliefs that we hold dear. And this is what I say, my colleagues and I love about our job, working with you and learning together, indeed. So a very nice side effect of being a professor at CEU is that you cannot really afford to get old, because we constantly have to keep up with your ideas and input. And I came to CEU 20 years ago. This is around almost 20 years, in 2004, and this is probably before some of you were born, if my math don't fail me. But nevertheless, I feel relatively young, and that is, I think, thanks to interacting with you and your peers here at CEU. So let me say a couple of things, what I think is special about CEU, and what probably is also the reason for why you found your way here. So some things you might know, others you might not know. So I remember when I started my undergraduate studies in political science in the university in Germany in the 1990s, it was a big place with huge classrooms, say 5 times, 10 times bigger than what you see here. And this is CEU's biggest classroom, I think, more or less. It was full of people. And it took me a long time to figure out what was expected from me, which courses to take, and so on. And honestly, I'm not sure I even succeeded, even by the time I graduated from this university and went to even bigger places in Berlin or Madrid and so on. So personal attention by professors was rare, if it existed at all. And CEU is the opposite, the polar opposite. Here you will find collaborative learning and small class sizes. And these are just some of the advantages of choosing CEU over most other universities. So at CEU, you will be taught in small classes, typically with a mixture of lectures and seminars, where you're expected to participate and express your ideas and thoughts. So no back row sitting, everybody comes forward and tries to talk and argue with the professor and their peers. And this is the foundation for the collaborative learning approach that we have here. Our student-faculty ratio is about 7:1. That means for one professor, there are 7 students, more or less. And this allows us to offer the personalized model of education that we are so proud of. And your professor will accompany you during your studies. So they help you to develop the skills and acquire and create knowledge in an, as I say, open and dynamic learning environment. And this means indeed that you learn from and with both your peers. You learn from the professors, but also from your peers. So the outside learning, outside classroom learning is really a crucial feature of the CEU. I know that you are looking also at competitor universities, I'm sure, but let me point out that unlike other small private universities, CEU is also a research-intensive university. So what does it mean? It means that the faculty at CEU are active researchers, not just teachers, who publish in well-known journals, get research grants, and appear in public debates as sought-after experts. Our excellence in research is demonstrated by quite some remarkable facts. For instance, in international rankings, CEU consistently scores high in several disciplines, in the top 50 in the world in several of the programs that we are offering. We are also very successful in acquiring competitive research grants, both in Austria, but also beyond, especially the prestigious European research grants. So for you, our future students, this means you will be taught, as I say, by people who produce top-notch knowledge and are leading figures in their disciplines. And so this combination, I repeat, between research excellence and small class sizes is, I think, quite unique to this university and rarely found elsewhere. There are other pretty unique facts and selling points, I shall say, about CEU, apart from excellence in research and the small class size, and this is this. Once you graduate from one of our 3 BA programs, you will actually receive 2 degrees, one US degree and an Austrian degree. And this is because CEU as an institution and all of our programs are accredited both in the US and in Austria. And I think have to highlight how important this is for your job perspective. So it opens you the US market and the European market, of course. It makes it further clear that CEU is sort of a one-of-a-kind university. Our uniqueness that I have tried to explain now is probably also behind another fact, namely the success of CEU in establishing partnerships with other universities in Europe and beyond. So given our size, we have an unproportionate number of partnerships and involved in networks. And for you as students, this is of interest in very many respects, I have to say. One is you can go to these partner universities and study for some period of time. So for instance, we have 100 Erasmus agreements, meaning you can go to, not you personally cannot go to 100, but you can go to one of 100 and study there if you want. Vice versa, each year CEU receives a large number of other Erasmus students at our campus, further increasing the diversity and your chance to interact with different people from different places. And of course, professors come here and give talks and involve students in research projects and workshops. Just for, because I'm particularly proud of one of those networks, it's called Civica, the European University of Social Sciences. This is a European University Alliance where 10 universities in higher education, higher education institutions try to form one university. It's a very ambitious goal, and we do this CEU together with the LSE in London, Sciences Po in Paris, Bocconi in Milan, just to mention some of them. And it's over 72,000 students who, are tightly connected to you as CEU students. And we as CEU play a leading role in this alliance. So, and despite us being a small university, there are many things you can do at the campus apart from attending classes. So there's a thriving intellectual life. We have 400 public lectures per year, so you could go to almost 2 every working day. Nobel Prize winners, government leaders, philanthropists, otherwise interesting people who come and give lectures here at CEU. And if this isn't enough and you still have spare time, we have a very capable student life team that can help fill your calendar with activities as broad as sports clubs, reading clubs, hiking clubs, and so on and so forth. And I guess you know what I'm going to say now, that CEU is exceptionally and truly international. Our student and faculty come from over 100 different countries, and given our small size, this is quite a lot. And when I was a student and then also worked for some time in the US, there too are people from all over the world. But the crucial difference is there was always a majority. So it's usually most US Americans, and there are people from other places. At CEU, it's different. There is no dominating national majority. I think the biggest group among students is maybe 10%, and it varies from which country this comes. So both in teaching style, in campus feeling, it is just a fortunate mix between many different cultures. So to illustrate, if I teach a class with 15 students, which is almost already a bigger class, there can be 16 nationalities represented sometimes. So the variety and intensity of this multicultural exchange is truly transformative. So no matter whom I talk to after their time at CEU, this is what nobody sort of forgets and cherishes. And you will be, once you finish, a member of an alumni network of roughly or over 18,000 people scattered around the world. And this is usually a very tightly knit community that helps you in finding jobs, support in other life situations, and creates friendships for the rest of your life. Thinking about another particular aspect of CEU, and I'm coming to an end, I would like to let you know that we pride ourselves to also offer practical experience. So we, within our teaching, we want to make sure that you are prepared for the life after. So we also have a remarkable broad network with industry professional organizations where oftentimes our graduates end up working. And this is, I think, really important for your career post-CEU. And so having studied at CEU makes it very likely that you land a good job and in a very short period of time. And I know this is very important also for the parents in the room. And to illustrate just with one number, I could cite others. Within 3 months after graduation from CEU, 85% of our master students in 2022 found a job. So the others, I think the unemployment is virtually absent, find a job shortly after. And also important, of those who have a job, and we ask them later, is anything you learned? I mean, they say, 90% of them say, I should say, that what they learned at CEU was integral to getting prepared for the job market and to have a successful career. So as a result, CEU graduates work in nearly 200 organizations at 53 countries. So globally, we can place our students. Our bachelor cohort, the first one that's just finished last year, has a similar pattern of success, of which actually 30% of those who finished their BA continue graduate studies at CEU. So this is also an option, of course. So you see, and I'm concluding here, CEU is not just another university. It is also not just another highly international university. Instead, it is a place where smart and engaging people like you who are actively involved in and around the most pressing issues of our time, and who are eager to challenge you. I mean, you will challenge yourself and you will challenge us in a way that allows you, and I have to say also faculty, to grow as persons and citizens of this world. And a small comment as you came in, CEU is also, has an institutional culture that welcomes open and critical voices, as you have seen. So as a university, we are here to help you, prospective students and continuing students, to understand the fine line between the expression of freedom as a powerful tool for fostering an open society, and to reach consensus and solution on problems of which we have different opinions. Coming back to today and coming to an end, today you can explore the variety of study programs that we offer. You can hear from future professors. I think this is the next agenda item. You can find out how to make your application stand out, because it's competitive. So we need to select more people who want to study than we can admit. And you will also hear what your future peers want to share with you, what their experience is here at CEU. And for those of you who join us on campus, that's you, and not the ones online, you can also have a feeling of what your new academic home looks and feels. So I do not want to take more time. So let me please conclude by reminding you that embarking on a study program is not just a smart choice. It is also not just the right choice, but it is your choice. And we are here to get this choice right. It all starts here now. Welcome again and enjoy the open day. I hope to see many of you next fall here at CEU. Thank you very much.
So as Carsten mentioned, the next testimony speaker to explain us a little bit more about this.
Thank you. You have Tamara Steger, and I'm on faculty in the Department of Environmental Sciences and Policy. And I'm also the director of the BA Culture, Politics, and Society program. So I'm going to introduce a bit about that program. But I want to ask you all, how many of you feel more than maybe a bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the world these days? So what to do? What to do about that? Feeling like maybe you don't know what to do, or you can't, how can you do anything about that? It's huge, right? We've got climate change, conflict, changing political regimes, a lot of sense of insecurity about that, what's going to happen in the world. And we older folks are looking to you, younger folks, and you're like, well, what do we know? How do we take on what you have, what you're passing on to us? Well, I think coming to CEU is a good start. It's a good start to start working on that. It's not about coming here and studying and then working on it afterwards. When you come here, you're already starting. You're starting to learn about how to work in an international context with people who have different views than you do. And you're going to study, but you're going to be supported. You're going to study, but you're also going to learn to practice and implement things and learn from them. So it'll be a good environment, a nurturing environment to do that. You'll be supported by mentors who also come from all over around the world. So this is a good start. It's a good start. And so what is our program about? And why do an interdisciplinary kind of program? So what does it mean to study culture, politics, and society, or, politics, philosophy, and economics, or data science and society? Why do this interdisciplinary thing? Well, another reason for that is also that it's a good start, because it brings these complexities together. All of the challenges that we face, like climate change, these require complex interdisciplinary approaches. Okay, so what is our program, our CPS program about? So it's a good fit for those who seek to explore worldly connections and the challenges, to understand and value, whoa, look at that, I'm in the way of my own slides here. Looking at problems from multiple perspectives. You will be challenged in the classroom by each other as much as us, your mentors. So it's a place for you to learn how to listen to things that maybe you don't fully accept. So what to do with that and how to learn from each other. Oh, thank you. So how to convey information in innovative ways, because part of that process, right, is to be able to communicate about the understandings that you're gaining from interacting with each other and with your mentors, and with us sharing some different ways of looking at things. We're going to challenge you, you're going to challenge us. Carson is right about that. And the whole point of that is to make an impact on the world. But like I say, it's not making an impact later. You start right now. Because this program also, our programs are designed for you to start doing things. So it's not just theory and the ivory tower. No, we're putting these things into practice in lots of different ways. Not only testing them in the classroom with each other in a more safe environment, but also going out into the world. And I say that, going out into the world, but really we are in the world right here. So what does the program look like? So we have 3-year programs that are Austrian accredited, and we have 4-year programs that are accredited by both Austria and the US. So you get a degree that is, when we talk about accreditation, that sounds good, and it is very good, because what those accreditations mean is that our curriculums have been reviewed by lots of people. Are we offering something that is very high quality? And yes, we're offering something that's high quality from the standpoint of Austria and the European Union and the United States. So it's an excellent, excellent degree on multiple standpoints. So we have interdisciplinary majors. First, you get a broad-based foundation, so we don't throw you in the pool without teaching you how to swim. So we give you a sense of the terrain, get you used to the academic life and the challenges that you're going to explore and handle in this context. So we have a multimedia training, which is also about that communication aspect. So a lot of the world, as you know, is based on communication now. But we don't want you to go in and communicating things that aren't backed up by good, deep, critical thinking. We want you to engage the critical thinking and be able to articulate that in lots of different ways through multimedia. So we also have this experiential learning component where you can do a project that involves civic engagement, but again, we just don't throw you in the pool without teaching you how to swim. We also have a civic engagement course that prepares you for that, where you might engage a project in Vienna, for example. It also could be an internship where you work with an institution, and Vienna is a great place for that. Lots of interesting international institutions, especially in my field. So the United Nations working on environmental issues. And the third part is to do a research assistantship. So if you're interested in doing more research and maybe thinking long-term about your studies, that you can do a research assistantship with one of our faculty at CEU. So not having these borders between the CEU as an institution and the city of Vienna and the rest of the world, we also have this Vienna is the classroom and visiting layers of the city, where you go into the city and engage it in a learning environment. And then finally, we have a study abroad option. So even though you get a huge international context right here at CEU across the students and the faculty and the staff, you have an opportunity to get even more by traveling somewhere else and learning in another academic institution. And you get the benefit of that when everybody comes back after that abroad year and learning from each other about what you learned in these other places and taking what you're learning here to those other places as well. So these are the majors and how it's set up. I'm not going to read through each of these, but just to show you, just to give you a sense. So the CPS, the culture, we have culture and historical studies, political, legal, and governmental studies. So these are the kinds of majors you can select. And we have social and environmental studies. Of course, that's kind of my favorite because the environmental aspect, but it's not that you're not going to learn about environment in these other contexts either. But these are going to be majors to help you focus a bit on how to bring these different aspects together. And complementary to all of those is the possibility of visual theory and practice, where there you even dig deeper into how to, so modes of expression, learning different modes of expression and how to engage that. You'll get skills, not only practical skills in filmmaking, but also how to put a script together, how to convey these complex ideas that you're learning. And then a host of minors. So if you want to dig deep through these minors, you can start to look at more of the disciplinary aspects. So philosophy, for example, human rights. So you get this nice combination of an overview, but also the opportunity to dig deep. And that's it. So I guess we'll have questions later.
Yes, so I just was going to mention that if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the notebook that you got when you arrived. And then we can ask them later to either one of our professors or one of our students that we will be seeing later.
And I'll be around if anybody wants to.
So now we go our second program, Data Science and Society, introduced by Thiago. Oh, good. Better like this? Good. So thank you very much. I'm Thiago.
I'm the ex-program director of this program. I'm happy to present it here. The current program director is unfortunately not available today. So data science and society. So before I explain what this program is, I want to talk about why we envisioned this program, right? And the motivation here, I think it's fairly straightforward, right? So I think we have been observing for the past 10 years or so, a bit more, this increase of this huge deluge of data on human behavior, right? With the advance of social networks, for example, of every one of us is carrying a little tracking device in their pockets, or most of us, right? So now we have this amazing amount of information about how people move, how they behave, what they say, right? So there's incredible wealth of information which we have to tackle and understand. Right, so some examples are pretty clear. So spread of information and disinformation, for example, in social media, right? How do we understand this? How do we model this? How do we control it, if you will? Human mobility patterns. How do people move across countries? This is shown in this picture here. It's hard to see, but what it shows is the movement of people across countries in a given year, right? Same thing happens within a country in a daily pattern, commutes, and this kind of thing, right? Cascading financial systems. You have seen crashes in economies. How do we model this? How do we understand it? How do we prevent it? Epidemic contagion. I don't need to give an example. Just went through a huge pandemic, right? How does these things interconnect? How does mobility affect contagion in a pandemic? How do we prevent it? How do we improve policy? How do you understand what's the policy outcome, right, in this system? So what does these questions have in common? They all connect data, which means mathematics, statistics, computation, with social systems. So we can't tackle any of these questions without combining these things, right? So a computer scientist, a statistician will be able to do half of the job. The other half needs a social scientist. But it's bad if you need two people to do one job. So what you want to do is to construct, then we want a program that trains and forms this hybrid kind of researcher or analyst who is able to bridge the gap, bridge these two islands, right? So what DSS does, it consists of two main pillars. One of them covers then this technical aspects of mathematics, statistics, computation, and data science, right? This forms about half of the program. And the other half are the several aspects of the social sciences. So we have sociology, economics, environmental science, and political science. Now, there's a very important point here, which is that these courses in mathematics, say calculus, linear algebra, and same thing for statistics, computation, they're going to be taught just as they are taught in a technical program, like in computer science, physics, or statistics. So they're taught by people, by faculty who are statisticians, computer scientists, physicists. The same thing is true for the social science courses. They're taught by social sciences. In fact, for social science faculty. So a student that sits in a sociology course is going to be reading exactly the same text as it would be if there was the main program, right? So there's no watering down of anything here. On the contrary, you want these things to be as strong as possible. And so this is something I think is very unique of this program. There are not very other programs out there which attempt to make this combination. So what kind of student do we have in mind when we think about this? We think of students that are like us. So a lot of people who participate in this program, they are scientists who are at this interface, but they came from one of the, maybe they came for social sciences, maybe they came for the physical or natural sciences, and then they ended up in this interdisciplinary field. And we remind of who we were when we were in school, and typically the kind of students we were those that did not want to make a choice. They were good at humanities, they liked history, they liked to think about society, but they also liked mathematics, they also liked statistics. And at some point, they were forced to make a decision, and it was a very hard decision. So that's the kind of people we wanted, because here they don't have to make this decision, they can choose both, right? And that's exactly what we have in mind. And we're very happy to say that there are a lot of people like that, right? This has been a very happy, I don't want to say surprise, because we kind of knew this discipline existed, but we were surprised with the numbers, right? So there's a volume of people who are like that, and they're very motivated, and they've found a home in this program. So the people who have passions for mathematics, computer statistics, and also sociology, economics, political science. They have a desire to understand societies and economies using mathematics and data. And they want to work across disciplines. So I say this very often, right? Nature does not respect the boundaries we put in academia, right? And they have technologies. Careers prospects, I think this is self-evident. There are a lot of opportunities. There's a plentiful array of things as a person that comes to this course could do, because, well, there's need for this combination, for this understanding of data, of societal data, right, using mathematics, and At the same time, I need to understand and comprehend it within a social science context, right? So this is true at startups that need to do consumer analysis, for example, social media consulting company, a city council, and so on. And climate change and geo. I mean, you can imagine this, and I don't have to list every single example. There's so many instances of situations where there's a bunch of data, and we have to understand and comprehend it at the high level, but at the proficient level, right? And of course, scientists. I think I'm done. Oh.
Matthijs Boogmans presenting PPE, politics, philosophy, and economics.
Yeah, thank you, Matthijs. Yeah, I'm Matthijs. That's with one T and that's with double T. I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch. You're both Dutch, but I've been here longer. Okay, that was too much information. I should stand here. Yeah, because people are joining online. I'm with the Department of Political Science. I've been with CEU since 2015, and I came here after a career in different countries, different continents. So I'm one of those people who also in their own life represent the internationality of CEU, as you heard also from Carsten Schneider, our pro-rector. Right, PPE, that's another program for people who can't make choices. Yeah, and there's a reason that all three BA programs at CEU are multidisciplinary, because there are plenty of universities where you can start one discipline. There are not that many where you are offered a curriculum that is multi and interdisciplinary, and that is explicitly designed to prepare you for the multifaceted, complex problems that you will be facing later on, professionally and personally. So this BA is philosophy, politics, and economics. I will say a bit more about it in a moment, but first let me talk you through the program structure. This presentation now with here, every year when I see that photo, I go, who is that? It's not me. So it is a 3-year Austrian or a 4-year US accredited degree. The experience so far is that most of our students continue to do a 4th year, which is a good sign because it means they like it with us and they want to stay as long as possible. PPE is different from CPS and DSS in the sense that it is a well-established brand. You can also study PPE at other universities like Oxford. Yeah, PPE is pretty big in the Anglo-Saxon world. So when you study PPE, people will know what you're talking about when you explain your program to them. It's multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. Now, let me explain the difference. So multidisciplinary means you have the P, and the E. Interdisciplinary means that we're also connecting these pillars, yeah, to create synergies and to make sure that the sum is more than just an addition of the individual components. So somewhere the P, and E need to meet, to come together, to create new ideas. Yeah? And we're very much aware of that, and we are building this into the curriculum. There's an opportunity to study abroad in year 3, as in the other programs. If you're in the 3-year program, welcome. If you're in the 3-year program, you can go abroad for 1 semester. If you're also doing your 4th year here in Vienna with CEU, then you can even go away for an entire academic year in year 3. Many people make use of that option. I don't know if people already talked to you about it, but we have more than 30 destinations. So it's that's remarkable. Also, since we only started a couple of years ago. So sometimes I think that we are more a travel agency than a university. And it's really broad. So you have destinations from Asia to the US and everywhere in between. Okay, what is the program structure? The first year is about laying the foundation. So it's philosophy, politics, and economics. And then in years 2 and 3, you specialize. So you drop one of these 3. In our experience, the major that is most often dropped by PPE students is philosophy, which personally I don't get. But that's maybe because I struggled with economics myself when I was a BA student. But this might change, yeah, because every year, that's the amazing thing. Every year, the cohort is different. The people are different, where they come from is different, their backgrounds, their experiences, their outlooks. It's very nice to see. But yeah, you have to choose. And then if you want, in the 4th year, you can just focus on one particular major. But that's uncommon. And the reason I think is that students chose a multidisciplinary program for a reason. Yeah? It's actually not. I started with a joke like you can't make up a choice. No, I think the choice for a multidisciplinary program is a choice. Yeah? And it's a good choice because it means that you realize that early specialization closes off opportunities later on. Yeah. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you see some of the elective courses that you can take. Well, not course titles as such, but contributing programs. So this is what we all do. We don't have our own faculty. We don't have our own department. What the programs, the BA programs do at CEU is we get courses from everywhere. And it's nice because we can be selective. And that's what you see there. Yes, that's a picture I remember. I was there. That was a BA social event. PPE is a good fit for those who seek think critically. I think that's true for all programs. That's true for a university education as such, a critical engagement. Like being challenged. And we like being challenged as academics, I must say. And it's always very nice to have these classroom discussions. To like looking at issues from different angles. This is where the multidisciplinarity comes back in. So you need a certain perspective on the world. Enjoy having discussions with people from different backgrounds. And I can't stress enough that yes, there are many universities that are international, but Carsten Schneider, our pro-rector for external relations, was very right. There's no majority nationality at CEU. The funny thing is, in the BA programs, the largest minority might be Hungarians, which is odd because, you know, a couple of years ago, we were forced out of Hungary by the current government, actually current government. That's wishful thinking because that sounds like they might be out soon. That's not going to happen, right? Orban is not going anywhere. Anyway, let's not talk politics, or let's do. But then in the Q&A, it's about people from different backgrounds, and a lot of the learning is taking place among students inside the classroom, in the dorms, at social events. And this is really CEU trademark. We want students who want to make a difference in the world. CEU is a university with a mission. That's precisely why we were kicked out of Hungary, because the Hungarian government doesn't like what CEU stands for. Liberal democracy, open societies. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So yeah, your academic journey is obviously very, very important. But something else that is very important is what you do after your studies. And Jamie is going to tell you all about career services at CEU.
Great. Hello, my name is Jamie Coverton. I've been with CEU and the Career Services Office for a little over 5 years now. And I'll take this time to share a bit about what our office does, how we work with you as students, how we help you think about your future and your career. And I'll start by saying that, yeah, the questions that come up around one's future and career a lot of times can be very scary, intimidating, and daunting. The good news is we're living in an age where people rarely kind of choose just one profession or one career and go with that for the rest of their life. And there is a lot of flexibility, and CEU is a great place to explore your different interests and then keep kind of some of these career aspirations in mind as you're in the classroom, exploring different topics, discovering new passions. And then our office can work with you to help kind of make sense of a lot of what you're thinking about, what's driving your passions, and helping kind of create a roadmap as to steps that you can take in a practical direction about what you might want to do after CEU. And of course, that can be a job or internship, it can be further studies, and it can be a combination of those, because we like to think of career planning as not just what comes after graduation, but this being a lifelong iterative process that constantly builds on itself and requires reflection really throughout your entire life. So I'll talk a bit about our approach. We'd like to think our office is here to help you think about, plan, and take action when it comes to your future. So we're not an office that hands out jobs and internships. You don't come knock on our door and say, I'm looking for an internship, what can you give me? We're here to work with you to help you build the skills, confidence, and awareness about what's out there, what you can do to learn more about different career paths, who you can connect with to learn more, how to develop strong application materials, how to speak about yourself, and your skills, strengths, and interests, so you can convey that effectively to others. And in this process, we're trying to equip you to kind of be the protagonist of your own story. It doesn't do you any good if we just hand out jobs and internships, because you'll probably end up applying for other jobs at later points in your career, and you need to know and be equipped of how to do that. And so we're here to help you find those skills and build that confidence so you can do it yourself. I always like to show our career development model. This is something that guides a lot of our programming and how we think about career development. We think in these different areas how important it is to actually reflect and think about yourself, your interests, your strengths. We know that each student is different. We're not here saying, okay, here are the different career paths you can have. Okay, you look like you would be good at this, you look like you would be good at that. It's about you figuring out what it is that you want to do with your career. And we're here to help you figure that out, to ask some of the right questions, to have workshops that help you kind of discover and unfold these sorts of things. And these will change as well. And I think especially being in a place like CEU, where in the classroom amongst your peers, you are constantly being challenged in a positive way, you'll find your interests change as well, and you gain a lot of new inspiration. And so we want to make sure kind of keep engaging with you, so that can be reflected in how you're thinking about your career in the future. Of course, a lot has to be done about researching what's out there. I think everyone has ideas as to what different professions are out there. As you learn more, you'll realize there's so much more than that. And we often try to bring alumni on campus to be able to shed light on, some very interesting career paths that people have taken, and the very different ways that people can get to different places and ways to make an impact. Planning is really important. I always say the plan is really important because it gets you moving. The plan often changes, and being flexible is really important, but without a plan, it's very difficult to have some action. So do kind of work with us in our office to set a plan, to chart some action, and then be open and flexible as things may change within yourself or within your external environment. And then lastly, of course, there are things very concrete, such as applications, interviews, etc. And so those are things we also will work with you to help prepare. And we do this both through workshops and various programs, but also in a one-to-one setting. And I'll speak a bit more about that. So in terms of what our office offers, we have career skills sessions. So these are things that we deem as quite important in one's career development. So this might be kind of utilizing self-reflection in discovering kind of different career paths, or working on CV resume writing, cover letter writing, interview skills, things of that nature. And these are offered by our office and the advisors that we have within our office. We also have practitioner talks, so bringing people on campus to talk about their own career and how they got there, and what certain career paths look like, and the skills and knowledge that may need to be developed in order to be prepared for that. We often also bring alumni on campus for career panels. We have individual consultations, as I mentioned, so we offer a lot of programming, but then we understand that each person might need something a bit different. And so we work individually with students as well to support you during your time here. And it can be from a range of things. So we always say, you don't have to come in with the perfect question to see us. You don't have to be applying for an internship to come and see us. You can come and see us simply saying, I feel really confused. I don't exactly know what I want to do. I know I have all these different interests, but how do I put that into an actual job? How do I actually find an internship? Where do I begin to gain experience? And that's kind of enough of a starting point for us to begin working together. And I would say most students here, over their journey of the 3 to 4 years, they'll come and see us. And from our standpoint, from the advisor standpoint, it's really rewarding getting to see the students grow, to see kind of how each person develops, how their interests change, and how the different experiences they have do build up to make them, let's say, more career ready as they're coming out of CEU. We also have lots of resources online on our Career Knowledge Hub. You can go directly to our website. I believe as part of your application package to CEU, you actually have to have a CV resume. We have CV resume templates there and information about that, so you can already start utilizing some of our resources that we have on our Career Knowledge Hub. We also have an exclusive job and internship platform where people within our office and employers are posting jobs and internships that would be of interest to our students. So this is a great opportunity both to find opportunities, but to also just understand what's out there, what organizations are there, what types of positions are there, and what kinds of skills and knowledge are required. And then lastly, we really promote experiential learning. So we think it's really important to not leave CEU with just a degree in your hand, which it is a very valuable degree. You'll gain a lot from that, but it's really important. Employers these days are expecting for you to have experience. And so we really work with students to help them get internships, to help them find meaningful volunteer experiences, and to engage their interests so they can be building kind of a portfolio or profile of experience that will make them competitive afterwards. Oops, for some reason the title on this is not showing up, but I just wanted to show some sample internships that students at BA students at CEU have previously done. We've had people working, doing internships in private sector, in cultural institutions such as the Berlin Opera House, in the German Parliament, with various NGOs, US Embassy in Vienna. So quite a range. And I've even seen, say, the same student from one summer to the next do very different internships. So we really encourage students also to explore their interests. Just because you do an internship in kind of one sector or one topic doesn't mean that then has to be your path. It's a way to experiment. It's a way to gain skills that can be used in very different contexts. So we really encourage people to think about internships. But the good thing is you don't have to think about this immediately. So we always say, come to CEU, get settled, focus on your classes. That in itself is already an adjustment. And everyone has their own kind of path or timeline. We have students who come in and they're already saying, okay, I want an internship the first summer and I'm ready for this. And other students who say, is it okay that I don't do an internship the very first summer? And the answer is yes. Everyone has a different timeline, and people explore in different ways. And our office is very supportive of working with each individual and what their own goals are, how they define success. So we don't define it for you. I just wanted to share a bit about some statistics of graduates. So as you know, or as was previously mentioned, we only had our first graduating class of bachelor's students this past year with a fairly small graduating class. So I'm actually sharing some statistics broadly from our master's students from 2022. We always survey our graduates 6 months after graduation to learn more about where they end up and what they're doing. And I want to particularly highlight that a statistic we're quite proud of is that 82% of those graduates who are employed actually stated that the interest in the content of their work was one of their main reasons for choosing the job. And we highlight this in saying that we often are finding that our graduates do find that they can go on to a career that really matches their interests, that matches their passions. And it's not just about getting a job or having to take a job just for financial reasons, but they can find something to financially support themselves that they're also interested in and that they feel they can really learn from. So this is something I particularly like to highlight. Also from the same set of data from 2022 graduates in our master's programs, you can see there's quite a wide range of where people end up. I think in a lot of universities, you might see things quite lopsided with a majority of people working in, say, business, finance, consulting. While that is still the highest category with 34%, you can see there's quite an even distribution with a fair number working government law, international affairs, activism, philanthropy, international development, education and research. So this is also a nice thing, knowing that we have alumni working in a really broad range of areas, which is great when trying to think about different opportunities you might be seeking out. And I think it also just shows the flexibility of the degrees here at CEU, that people are prepared to go into many different types of work, depending on what they're most interested in. And then lastly, I'm just highlighting some of the employers that our 2022 graduates have gone on to work with. There might be some familiar names in there, some you might see in the consulting space, BCG, McKinsey, others in international organizations such as UN Environment Program, UN Development Program, European Commission. We have a lot of students who go on to do traineeships with European agencies. So there's quite a wide variety of where our graduates end up. And I'd like to emphasize that our alumni community is really strong and really supportive. So our office works very closely with a lot of our alumni, and we help connect students with alumni as well. So when students come into our office expressing a particular interest as to what they may be interested in doing in the future, we try to connect them with alumni so they have, let's say, a friendly face or a friendly kind of entry point to learn a bit more about a particular field or organization, which is a lot less scary than necessarily reaching out to someone who you might not have any connection to. So this is where I'll stop. I will take if people have questions because I won't be here for the, let's say, proper Q&A time. If anyone does have career related questions, I'm happy to take those now. But
She won't be there later.
your second option, if you don't have a question now, is I will be at the mini fair in the cafe. So you can come find me at the careers table if you're too shy to speak up now. Okay.
No questions? No? Okay, well, thank you, Jamie. Before we move on and speak with some of our students, I actually want to invite our professors to take a seat for a quick Q&A because one of our students still is in class. So if I could invite the professors.
Everyone, I didn't realize. The students are ready.
She's here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, in that case.
The students running late because.
Forget what I said, students, Nora, Jacob, Alexander, please come up.
I didn't see her sneaking.
I know. They're very good at that.
I'm sorry. It's all right. I didn't see you sneaking, so I thought you were still in class. So we were going to switch the order up a little bit. I'll go behind the lectern here. This helps on the microphones. I'm Tanya Manners. I work with the undergraduate studies team as a project manager, and I'll be leading the student discussion panel. So we have 3 students today who will be speaking about their experiences, which we're quite excited about. So first, I'm just going to ask everyone to introduce yourselves, where you're from, which program you're in, what year, and also why you chose your program and CEU. I'm going to start.
Hi everyone, my name's Nora. I'm a second year BA student. I'm Austrian Danish, but I grew up in Belgium, and I'm a CPS student. I chose CPS because I've always been interested in politics, but not only politics, so I wanted to do an interdisciplinary kind of program. And CEU because of open society value and what CEU stands for. Hello, my name is Alexandra. I come from Slovakia, right from Bratislava, and I'm second year in PPE. I chose this degree because I think it's a great foundation for a journalism degree one day that I'd like to pursue, or a career in journalism later on. And I also really like the community spirit that CEU has, and coming from a community-based high school, I found this as a great option to pursue as well.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm also second year bachelor student, and I'm doing data science and society. Or when I started, it was called quantitative social sciences, and I'm from Austria. And I chose DSS because I was searching for something, as Tiago said. I'm coming from engineering, from mathematics, but I also am hugely into politics and economics. And it's quite hard to find a bachelor degree where you can do classes in both, but also where you learn how to apply, for example, quantitative measures like machine learning for a social science study, which I find very fascinating. Yeah.
Great,
Only second year, so
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to ask a few questions about the academic experience. So if you can talk a little bit about your favorite classes and professors. Alexandra, do you want to start?
Yeah, okay, so I think my favorite class is political economy from last year. I took that in the spring with Laszlo. Thank you. Yes, Laszlo Blues. I think that this class perfectly demonstrates how the PPE degree is interdisciplinary, but at the same time, as Matthias already said, interdisciplinary. So we focus mainly on the economic aspect of politics, of course, but we dealt with many philosophical questions and applied them in the field of politics and economics. So I'd say I conclude that this was the main reason why I liked the class the most.
Great, thank you very much. Jacob?
So I also like political economy a lot. Actually, PP and DSS students take that both
Together.
in the first year. But I'm very much into like introduction to machine learning, where you learn to apply basic statistical methods, also to understand them, how they're applied in machine learning. Also, you learn a little bit how to code your first like own small machine learning programs, which sounds huge before you study bachelor's, but I'm only 1.5 years in front of you, so imagine. And that gives me a lot of joy to have this kind of like working once finally the code pops into place and it works. It's a great feeling. A lot of endorphins.
Fantastic, thank you. Nora, how about your favorite class?
My favorite class was also last year. I feel like we all have our favorite classes that we had last year. It was called Democratic Freedom and Its Enemies, and it was taught by Professor Michael Ignatieff. Just being able to sit in a room with Ignatieff was already an experience. But basically what we did is we went through different political and social scientists and read who were more like in favor of democracy in general and democratic thinking, and then also looking at the other side, such as the enemies. It was really fascinating and just overall a great experience to be in that class last year.
Fantastic, thanks. And for everyone who doesn't know, Professor Ignatieff used to be the rector of CEU as well, so it's pretty cool to be in the classroom.
And Prime Minister of Canada.
Okay, let's talk about extracurriculars a little bit. Nora, do you want to start with that? I know you're very involved.
Yeah, so fun fact, I'm the president of the Student Union. And we do a lot of things for students. We fund clubs, we fund student initiatives. We have different clubs. We have over 20 clubs, I think, at CEU. So these are different topics from hiking club to board game club to queer CEU to, do we not have like some philosophy clubs, I think, as well? So we fund their parties or their events or excursions that they're doing. Student initiatives, these are just like students who are doing conferences or who are doing some kind of workshop. And I was also part of the civic engagement program, which was last year, where you kind of do your own civic engagement workshop or project, and it was a lot of volunteering and working together with the 5th district on revamping phone booths, which was very fun. So yeah, if you have any questions about the Student Union, I'm your person.
And also with student clubs, if you want to start a student club that doesn't exist, the Student Union is very supportive in that as well. So you can join existing clubs, and if you come up with other ideas, you can also form whatever club you want, basically.
I think we have like at least 10 new clubs this year, and clubs come and go. Like sometimes they're here for a couple of years and then they disappear again. But yeah, anything from like film club to, we have a CEU tea tasting society, for example. So you really can think of anything to be a club. Every Friday. Yeah.
Tea tasting.
Yeah.
Are you part of it?
It was no longer, but
okay, Alexandra, you have some more.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of clubs, I co-lead the newspaper club. There's a newspaper, The Stand, led by students that was active before, but then stopped being active for a while. Now we restarted it with a couple of students. And I also started a civic engagement track. Last year in June, I attended the European Week in Paris with Civica community. So they're Civica universities, because the idea behind this, just briefly, is that Civica is establishing a pan-European university formed from front of other European universities of social sciences, for example, Sciences Po, LSE, then there is Stockholm School of Economics, and multiple other universities. So we met together, and yes, we worked on some major challenges we face nowadays.
It was fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun, yes.
But basically, so this Civica Engage track, you take a certain classes, and you do a certain amount of civic engagement hours, and then you can attend this European Week, which is hosted by different universities. and every European week focuses on a different subject, right? What did yours focus on?
We focused on well, it was urbanism and ecology basically. So yeah, intertwined with climate change.
And so at the end of that, you get a certificate for completing all these different things. And yeah, I heard that European Week was very, very, very intense, a lot of work, but very interesting. And it's great because it connects you with people from other universities as well, which is really nice.
It's great for networking as well. And if you're considering, well, for me, it's very accurate right now because I'm considering going abroad. So meeting up with these students from another universities helps me to also decide on where to go.
Thanks. Jacob,
So yeah, we were one of the clubs. We funded the club at the beginning of last year, but during study season, we decided it's like not worth it anymore. And basically what we did, every week we met at a bar in Vienna, and one person gave a random presentation about something they like. We had like a person give a presentation about a video game she played for a decade already, or me talking about fixed gear cycles, or another friend about some Swedish art he very much admires, which we called the useless Falco. So that was fun. And also the student union has kind of work groups, committees, I think.
Yeah.
And I was I was the bike security committee, where we like try to make bike safety better at CEU. For example, next week there's a bike repair stand, like toolbox in front of CEU that students and staff and faculty can use.
Thank you. As a bike user, I appreciate that. Okay. In your first year, students can choose to live in a dorm if they want. We always think it's very good for community, but people can choose whether they want to or not. But I know both Nora and Alexandra, because they're not locals, lived in the dorm the first year. So if you can talk a little bit about your experience, what it was like being in the dorm, making friends, community. Nora, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I lived together with 3 other students, a Japanese Dutch girl, a Swiss, Australian, American, French guy. Yeah, he's all over the place, and then the Israeli. And we were all like very different backgrounds, very different ages. So it was definitely a change at the beginning, but honestly, I don't think I could have survived my first year that well if I just lived with them together. It really felt like a little family. I know every dorms were quite different, but we cooked dinner every night, and we were called the communist apartment because we shared everything. So some apartments, they also are now communist apartments, and so we started it. But yeah, we hung out, we went on trips to Budapest together, for example, played board games, and overall it was just very nice to be able to live with people who you wouldn't necessarily like get to know. And we were all from different programs, and we had insight on how others were doing, and it was overall really great experience.
Alexandra?
Okay. Yes, I also lived in the dorms. I lived with 2 other girls, one from France and the other from Georgia. Well, we still live together now. We live in a shared flat. So I really found friends among them. And well, luckily for me, we became this really bubble of support for each other. So we were there when one or the other needed any help. We also cooked every day, basically, yeah, every dinner. And well, as far as I know, we were the cleanest apartment. But besides, the dorm experience was really nice because we also could just visit each other.
That's what I miss the most. When knocking on apartment 9, be like, "Hey, I need an onion," and then ended up talking with them for half an hour in their kitchen.
Yeah, well, it has both positive and negative consequences when it comes to studying afterwards. But yes, for me, it was also a nice experience.
Someone who didn't live there reading the group chat was also very
Landries.
Yeah.
Also, for me, not living there, I wasn't lonely or anything. There were a lot of socializing events, there were clubs. So I also very much feel part of our cohort. And I also know all the people also from other classes. So
well, and you
you're not
visited
left
us.
out.
Yeah, you visited us as well. So
true.
Great. Okay, now just a little bit outside of CEU, if you can talk about Vienna a little bit, because none of you are actually, we have one Austrian here, but nobody's originally from Vienna. If you can say some of your favorite things about living in Vienna. Jacob, do you want to start?
Yeah, so what I love about Vienna is the Wienerwald and the Donauinsel. That you can just take the subway or your bike and you're in the nature within 30 minutes. You can go hiking or just lay at the Danube River and chill. I think that, yeah, that's a huge plus.
Thank you. Alexandra?
Yeah, do you know Weinzettel?
Tiergarten.
Tiergarten, yes. So yeah, it's a very nice place as well in terms of getting into nature. And I really fancy the Viennese coffee culture. And I love the yearly passes for museums and galleries because I'm a huge fan of art. So I'd say that it's really worth it buying the yearly passes because
For students, it's quite cheap as well, isn't it? How much is the yearly pass for like the Bundesmuseum?
20 or what? No, it's for Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina, it's
40 euros. 40, but for the whole year. If you take it once you're 19 or more, like me, then you have to pay I think 14 euros. So
it's a very good price.
It's a very good price.
But like, for example, for me, my first year, I was under 19, so I had a great experience and went through all the museums before turning 19 this summer. So now I have to pay. But, something that I very much like, and I still do, is the People's Opera. They have something called U30, where you pay 15 euros to go to a performance. So it's either a musical or opera, and I just love the music scene here in general. And I go at least once a month and I plan it with either a friend of mine. And so the music scene and just the culture scene in general is a huge plus in Vienna.
Also, there are free dancing classes sometimes at random cafes, which is really nice. You meet a lot of new people.
Yeah.
And speaking of museums as well, we have quite a number of classes that do take advantage of being in Vienna and going on field trips to museums.
So we had a class called Layers of the City, which was really and like really interesting for someone who is not Viennese but who's Austrian and who knows a bit about the history of Vienna, but like not every single topic. And every week we had a different topic. So we had Red Vienna or Green Vienna, and then we would visit, for example, the housing or museums, or we would go through like small guides through the Jewish district, for example, in the 3rd district. So yeah, that was a class that was called Layers of the City.
Excellent. Okay, and then my final question for everyone is, what's one of the most unique opportunities you've had thanks to studying at CEU? One of the, or some of the, or some of your favorite things about studying at CEU. Jacob?
I'm coming from public university, University of Vienna, and I was very much surprised how close you are to the teaching assistant and the professors in particular. So there's this thing called an office hour, where a professor takes 1 hour a week. Like you can just go to his office and explain you a very addition. What's 1 + 2? They will take the time. This 1 hour for you. And I didn't realize it, that's the thing at the beginning. And it took me half a year, and then I was passed. And it really helped me academically, also overcoming some fears. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, professors.
I mean, in this regard, absolutely, I have to agree, because the opportunity to approach professors after class or TAs even for further clarification is amazing, and I am using it very often, way too often. And yes, I'm so grateful for the professors, because you get a completely different also, you adopt a completely different perspective on a topic when you approach the professors privately, because they're there to explain it to you, and they elaborate on what has been said in the classroom. So, yeah, I absolutely recommend this. And apart from that, also the mentioned European Week was a nice experience, and leading one of the clubs, it's really nice to cooperate with other fellow students and together work on something that's valuable. I think in my case, being in a leadership position and having to work together with a group of students and putting all my energy and trying to improve the university for students and learning a lot about how the university works and how students can contribute. And I never would have thought that in my second year of university I would be president of the student union, but I'm very grateful and I try my best to complete my position.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now open the floor to questions both to the students and also to the program directors. So if the program directors would like to come to the front, no, you don't want to? We're better that way. So yes, who has questions?
Anyone that has a question for one of the students or the professors? Life as a student, life as a professor. Maybe some of the people that came in just now, maybe they have questions.
We have a question over here.
Absolutely, AstroTurf. What are some of the what are the most difficult struggles that you've come to experience in your capacity as an undergraduate student and also just somebody moving to Vienna in general? What are some of the things you found maybe difficult to adjust to and you might still be struggling with today?
Philosophical question. I mean, in general, being a young person who has never lived outside of their home and living with strangers, that was already a big struggle. I think also sometimes, I mean, for me, at least this year, it's been very hard to balance between how much effort and how much work to put into the student union and academics. And especially also this year is social life. Last year, we really had more time to socialize and really like meet people and get to know each other also because we lived in dorms. And now this year, I really have to make the time, write to people, can you meet this weekend? Yes or no? Because we're all so busy. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest struggle.
Yeah, it's quite similar for me. Like, I think finding the balance between how much are you studying, special classes, how much socializing, like moving out, all this coming together. Yeah, it's the old 20s, which I see more also emotionally. Yeah.
For me, it was mainly balancing things that I take care of outside of school, and then those things I dedicate my time to within university. Now I think I'm more or less I'm handling it well, but yes, it was something I had to organize. But I think, as also Jakob said, that's the early 20s. I think you need to just find yourself in things that are piling up, and you need to organize your time well. But that as well takes some experience, and you have to first, come across some bumps, and then you can figure them out.
Other questions? Yes?
I'm primarily asking Nora,
Yeah.
As president of the student union, what do you think about the demonstration in the hall? Is it organized by the union?
So this is a very political question. So this is not organized by the student union. I personally, not as president of student union, as a student, I support them. I support their causes. It has planned by other group of students, and they wanted to plan it with the open day to kind of raise their voice. And yes, just to show you that even though university and CEU is a great place to go, we still have our struggles, we still have our problems, and I think that's the case at almost any university. So if you want to join and learn and fight for our rights, then welcome. But yeah, that's basically it.
How come it wasn't organized by the union?
It was basically a group of students themselves joining forces together and raising and not going through us as a student union. Yeah.
So When I got here an hour ago, I also noticed the demonstration at the entrance, and that kind of got me curious. And I was talking to some people who were demonstrating, and they basically told me what Nora just said, that the CEU is like a great place for them, and they value what they learn here. But they had some issues they fought for, and they mentioned, for example, that in the dorm room they had to pay a lot of money. I think it was 500 euros for a single bed. And I just wanted to ask how you feel about the financial perspective and the critics that the demonstrants are bringing up.
I mean, for the dorms, I can say, so to the cheapest dorms basically in Vienna, it gets snapped up in February already. We don't know our student numbers until May or June. So we have decent rates for trying to get as much accommodation as possible for when the students actually sign up. And we also have it's a good location. On top of that, they don't have to worry about paying extra heating costs, and everything's included. So that's why the prices are what they are. CEU takes absolutely no money from the organizing the dorms. We have a partnership with them, but the money all goes to the dorms. We've already brought the cost down as much as we could. So that's what happened in the first year. So now they share rooms. In the first year, they were out in the 11th district, which maybe not considered as nice. They had single rooms. So we're doing the best as we can with the offer of the dorms. The other option is, people are not, or the dorms are encouraged, but it's also you don't have to live in them. You can also choose to find your own accommodation and share with someone else. But as Nora said, I mean, I lived in a dorm when I went to an American university, and there it was also required. It was actually required to be there. And I think for socializing, especially in a community when you're in a foreign country, it's really good to be in a dorm in your first year. It's a lot easier to build a community and meet people and so on. But we're providing the best possible we can in terms of finances. It's hard. Actually, that's what the market is here. I just spoke to somebody yesterday, a master's student, who was a little bit too late in sorting out his dorm, and now he's paying something like 900 euros a month for a studio flat in a student dorm in the 10th district. So yeah, that's what the prices are. They can actually rent rooms that much. If you find a shared flat, it is cheaper. You can find cheaper things, but you have to worry about finding furniture. You have no idea who you're sharing with, because you move to Vienna at the age of 17, 18, and you have to suddenly share with a bunch of strangers who you know nothing about. At least CEU students here in the same community. But so that's kind of the answer about the dorm issue. Does anybody? I don't know if you have.
If you start your flat funding soon enough, I started for this year in June. I was able to find a perfect deal. So like I now pay I think I pay 400 with everything included per month in a really nice district, and I have a really nice flat. So if you start early enough, of course you can find a good deal, but I encourage you to start early.
But you also already had, you said you're living with the same people you lived in the dorm, right? So that's the thing, it's a lot easier in your second year because you already have the established friendships. So I think that's part of what the dorm helps with, is you at least get to live with a CEU community.
Yeah. I would also add, I would see the dorm as more something temporary to go for it for one term or for the first year, because it's fun. Yeah, and then you find your friends, very good friends, very fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I still meet up with my old flatmate to go watch Salzburg against Austria Wien.
Let's see.
I believe we have a few more questions. One in the back.
Yeah, this was also about the protest outside. They were saying that they hadn't been able to get the classes they needed in order to graduate. And I was wondering if that had been an issue for y'all as well, or if that was only certain people.
I think it has been this term at the beginning, it has been an issue and was also broadly discussed. And I think we got a mail 2 days ago about 5 extra courses in the fields where we had a lack. So I feel a lot better now because it was very stressful at the beginning. But I'm very happy that there's change happening in that field.
I think one of the great things about being at such a small university is that we can listen to the students and make changes very quickly. So one of the the main issue this year we had a lot more people specializing, majoring in political science than we expected. So it was very political science heavy. And then we had a lot of incoming exchange students, and that's what happened. But what we did is we got more political science classes for the winter term, so everybody will still have enough classes to graduate. So it's not actually an issue. But
So graduation was never an issue.
yeah.
It just makes it sound more dramatic. But these concerns are real. Registration was not smooth, to use an understatement. And as Tanya said, we are a small university. Everybody works closely together, and now these problems are being sorted out. What I just wanted to mention is that every cohort of students within each program elects the student representative. And I'm the program coordinator. I meet with the student representatives at least once a semester. And then we listen to the concerns and we try to solve the issues that they come up with.
That's why you need a student union, student representatives. 2 days after the chaos, I was in the office of the Dean of Undergraduate Students and complained with all the complaints that I had about students from my year. But yeah, we are on the right path to solving it. Also, my dear friend and also my class representative, how is it called? Student representative, yes, managed to sort out our concerns. So yeah.
So I don't know quite how to phrase this, but when it comes to mental health and mental well-being, what kind of support do you find you get from CEU, if you get any?
So we have the counseling. We have counselors here. I think 4 counselors in total, and you get 8 sessions a year, and that's what I know. What else? Yeah. Also, they organize regular workshops and mindfulness meditations. And now we have yoga, which I attend every Friday morning. So yes, there are plenty of. This is something I think that's very valuable here. Yeah. And as a student, we're trying to increase to get more counseling sessions a year.
But sorry, we also have peer counseling that we've added on as well. So there's several different options depending on, and you can always come talk to, mentors that you trust, and staff are also great. I mean, we're not trained, but we're there to help you get, see that you can get what you need. Yeah. Thank you.
What's the average age of first years? Is it all people coming straight out of high school, or is there also?
No.
People were 21. Okay. I was one of the youngest. Like I just turned 18.
But we even have some, I know we have a student now who's a 4th year student who I believe is 30 years old. So we do have some slightly older ones as well. But yeah, they're definitely, more around early 20s, yes. Someone else have their hand up?
Are there many students from Vienna?
Are many students from Vienna?
Yeah, so I find it interesting that you said the Hungarians are a minority. I think the Austrians are the minority. Yeah, like for example, in my program, I think there are 4 Austrians, and then half of them are like half something else as well. So they're not that many.
We definitely have a couple. It's not like there are none, but it's definitely nowhere. It's not a majority. There are a couple, but not a lot.
But I think it's getting more, right?
Yeah.
Like.
Is it increasing?
There's more people from
I think so as well.
And I think also some from international schools. I know definitely one of the first year students this year is from one of the international schools here. Yeah.
So cultural background basically is a more important factor in getting into the university than your actual like what you write in your CV and stuff like that. So whether if I'm from if I'm from a minority, will I have better chances to get into the university just because I'm not from Vienna or not from Hungary or I don't know where?
I guess program directors can speak a little bit more about admissions, but I
just wanted to ask how do you control these? How do you control not having people?
Only people from Vienna. Okay. We're gonna have we'll have a session on admissions, so we'll talk about that a little bit more then. Answer that question for you.
Approximately how many classes or lessons do you have usually a week?
Well,
this can be the demanding part.
I have personally now 11 credits, which is, I believe, 5 classes. Oh, yeah, I think 5 classes. Yeah, 5 classes. Yeah. And it is, yes, it is 11 hours.
So I have 6 courses, which is 13 credits, and then president of student union. So
yeah,
my schedule is busy.
It's a busy schedule. It's not boring. It's not stressful.
Yeah.
I would like to ask about scholarship possibilities, like in general, how does it work, or what average do you need?
We'll do that in the session as well.
Oh, okay.
About the mentors, so you have mentoring like in the very first year, and what's the relationships with them? And in case you don't have a good work with them, can you change them? I don't think I had a mentor.
Well, we have academic advisors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we have an academic. So we used to have just one. We've now increased it to 2 because we have more students. So we have 2 academic advisors who help you choose your curriculum and guide you and so on. So
and also, through club opportunities or just like meeting other BA students who are older, you get to know them, and then you can always ask them for advice. Like I'm currently writing to 3 people who are on exchange, just getting information on where should I go next year. And I met all of these people because of last year, because of the BA event, for example.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there's definitely opportunity to like reach out, and because we're not that many students, it's easier to get in touch, ask questions, and just get to know each other in general.
I don't know if it's still a thing, but when we started, everyone got like a 2nd or 3rd year mentor.
Mentor buddy, yeah.
And
I don't
buddy.
remember what was it.
I don't remember.
And apparently, like the one mentor got 3 or 4 new first years, and some groups they're still very close friends.
Yeah, I
they grew
forgot.
together, and in some groups, for example, I already lived in Vienna. I didn't really need a Vienna buddy for to begin with, so there wasn't that strong bond forming. But some other people took very much advantage of that opportunity.
I forgot that I had a mentor because she's now my friend, Clara. We started going to the cinema together on a regular basis, and then we became friends. So yes.
And on top of the academic advisors, we also have a study skills tutor. So we have a PhD student who has office hours, I think 2 hours a week, and otherwise you can make appointments with her. And she helps. I don't know whether any of you take advantage of our study skills tutor, but I know a lot of students do. And Freya, yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go.
And we also have the academic writing center, which is also a great opportunity. These are different professionals. We also have classes with them. You learn about citing, fun, and just in general about writing, and they're always there to like proofread and give you advice on, for example, an essay or any other type of assignment.
Any more questions? Yeah.
How many students do you have?
Oh, we're now on about 250 BA students.
So my program, in my year, I think we're 30.
Or 9.
Yeah, I think you're a bit more. Yeah, I think we're 34. Yeah. I don't know.
We're mostly all around 30. Well, DS is a little bit smaller.
We're only 9.
They're intimate.
Everyone knows each other.
What is the average percentage of the students which decide to study abroad, and how easy is the return to the CEU program?
Oh, good question.
Well, we don't know because we have not been on exchange yet. But I just know that usually it's half of the program that goes on exchange.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere around half. Yeah, so people really do like the opportunity, and how easy is the return? That's a very good question.
Yeah, how does it match the program?
They work. So when people study abroad, they work with the academic advisors to make sure that they choose courses that are appropriate to the program and match the program. So in that term, in that sense, it's easy to go back because we make sure we have partnerships with universities that have appropriate classes, and so that way people can choose things that match the curriculum and come back. But I mean, I can't think of any fourth-year students now who are saying they're having difficulties from having been abroad. I think everybody's happy with their experience.
Good
but
point.
also possibly have to be back.
And time for 2 more questions. So if anyone still has a question.
And admissions questions we'll do after the admission section. So are there any other questions for the students or program directors?
No? Okay. Well,
I don't have a question. I just thought it might be pertinent. I speak as a fourth year BA student.
Oh, great.
CEU also gets a ton of people who study abroad from different institutions studying here. At any given class, maybe up to like a third of my classmates are kids from LSE, from Stockholm, from Bard. So that's an even more international body in that regard.
Yeah. So yeah, we have partnerships with quite a lot of universities. So, and though not only do you have the opportunity to study at those universities, they all come in. So as Fika, our fourth year student here says, your classes are quite mixed. So not only is it international amongst the existing CEU students, but also with the exchange students, they bring an additional flavor to the classes. Okay.
good. That was it. So thank you, Nora. Thank you, Jacob. Take your water.
I'm going to take my advantage.
Okay, so we have one more session, so we guys probably one of the most important sessions. On admissions.
No, it's a
So she will tell you about.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wait for. Okay, I think I can start. So hi everyone. Welcome to CEU. I'm Lila from the admissions office. I'm here at CEU for 13 years now, but I'm quite new to admissions. So bear with me. This is my first time presenting something like this. So I will guide you through the application process to the university, how to craft a strong application, what are the documents to be submitted, and so on. So I start with the most important thing, with the application deadlines. We have a so-called priority deadline, which is February 1st. We call it priority deadline because this is the deadline for candidates who require a residence permit to come to Austria, to enter Austria. This is also the deadline if you would like to apply for financial aid. I will talk about the financial aid possibilities later. And so this is the priority deadline because we try to fill the classes with the applicants from this pool. So we strongly encourage you to apply by February 1st, if you can, because if we fill the classes in with the February 1 pool, then the applicants who apply by the second deadline, which is April 15, they can only get on the waiting list. So it's better to apply by February 1st if you can. Okay, so let's see the application requirements. To be eligible to get into the CEU BA program, you need two things. You have to have good level of English, and you need to be a high school graduate. These are the two things we require from you. But to be able to make a selection, we need many, many documents to be attached by you. We have an online application form. You need to fill in that form and then attach several things. I will go through them right now. First of all, you need to complete this online application form. Please be careful. The deadline is February 1st, but we have an application fee and we will get the money from a third party. So it takes some time, especially if you use bank transfer. So if you want to be sure, please submit your application a few days before the deadline. Then you pay the application fee, which is 30 euros. And so then you make sure that it arrives to us by February 1st. Yeah, so I suggest you to use credit card payment if possible, because the bank transfer can take ages. First thing to be attached academic records in English. So if your records are not in English, your high school transcript, for example, or your high school diploma, you should use an official translator for that. We require you to submit your high school transcript 3 full years. So if you are still in high school, please attach the 3 first years of high school. If you haven't finished it yet, we require the certificate of enrollment, if applicable. And if you already have your high school diploma, please also attach that one too. As an extra, you can attach standardized tests. It's mainly for US students, SAT and advanced placement test, all sort of standardized tests, but it's optional. It's not a requirement. And then next thing, which is really important, is the proof of English proficiency. We accept many different exam types. There's a list on the website. We require this and that point for this and that exam. You can check it on the website. And there are 2 cases of exemption. You are eligible for exemption from this requirement if you're a native English speaker or you attended an English-speaking high school for at least 2 years. Then you are exempted from this requirement. Then the next thing is the application essay. This is something, let's say, academic. There are topic suggestions on the website of the 3 BA programs. You can choose from them, but you can be more creative if you want to and choose another topic. We need something like 500 words for the application essay. Please follow the instructions on the website because each program has a slightly different requirement. And it's important that we are not requiring a full final academic paper. So please try to answer the question that you have chosen as a topic, present your opinion and use sources if you can, and pay attention to the language, of course, but it's not a final academic paper. Next thing, this is the motivation letter. This should present your interest in joining CEU. Why are you planning to come to CEU? Why are you planning to join that exact program? How the program matches your interest, and so on. So this should be something personal and less academic than the essay. We also need you to submit a CV, a resume. You can find a template on our website. You can use the template. We need your educational background listed in the CV. And you can also mention other extracurricular activities if you had any. It's just an option, like you were a member of student council in the school, you already have some work experience, community service experience, and so on. And I don't know who had a question related to this before. I would like to mention that the main point of all these documents is that we can see you as a whole. So we check the whole personality, the background, your academic high school experiences. We check the nationality. We try to find a balance with all the nationalities within our cohort. So we try to check your profile as a whole. We also require a recommendation letter 1. This also needs to be written in English as all the other documents. You need to choose your referee carefully. We suggest you to choose that person who writes your reference letter in advance. So please contact the person who may be, for example, a high school teacher. Check with the person that he or she is available to write your letter. And the thing is that you enter their name and email address into your application. and they have 7 days to submit the recommendation letter after you have submitted your application. So it doesn't have to arrive at the same time. And if you have any other supporting documents that you think are important for your application, a certificate that you attended an extra summer school or something like this, you can also attach all of them. Please merge all the documents together and you can find an option, other supporting documents. You can upload them there. And as I've already mentioned, after you submit your application, you need to pay the application fee, which is 30 euros. You can submit several applications, but the fee is 30 euros. So it's for all your applications together, not per application. Yeah. And so now I go through the procedure itself. You submit your application by February 1st. We receive your online application form with all the required documents. You pay the money. We also receive the 30 euros. And then you receive a feedback from the system that everything is received. Then the 7 days start for the recommender to submit the recommendation letter. And this is the procedure. We start checking the applications in February, and we organize admissions interviews for the ones who are selected, so-called finalists. For the interviews, they take place in February, March. The final admission decisions for this cycle are sent out in March, April. So you can have your results the latest by the end of April. But if you're invited to an interview, normally you get the answer in 2 weeks' time. This is the general deadline. If you are not accepted but not rejected, you can also get on the waiting list, and you will be notified later if you get in from the waiting list. The same procedure applies for the April 15 deadline. You apply by April 15, you pay the application fee. The admissions interviews happen for these people in May, and the offers are sent out in May and June, but the procedure is the same. And now the finances. So the tuition fee is 7,000 euros per year for everyone. And plus, if you go to the dorm during the first year at least, we suggest you to do so, as you've listened to the guys before. It's, let's say, 5,000 euros per academic year. There are other fees that you need to pay. For example, the Austrian Student Union fee is mandatory to be paid by everyone. All the costs are listed on the website, but these are the two main fees that you need to pay. But it was also asked before, there are financial support opportunities. There are two types. We have partial tuition awards. You are eligible for that only if you apply by February the 1st. So if you apply by the deadline, you have the option to put a tick into a box that you would like to apply for the financial aid. And then it's a merit-based award. You can get at maximum 50% of your tuition off if you get the tuition award. And there is also the Presidential Scholar Award. 2 outstanding students receive it per year. You cannot apply for this. So everyone is considered, and then you are selected, or you can be selected. And so, as I've mentioned 100 times, February 1st, this is the main application deadline. So please try to submit your application by that deadline. even if you don't require a visa to enter Austria. The second deadline is April 15th. And I think that's all. You can contact us at admissions@ceu.edu, and also we have a website, undergraduate.ceu.edu. And now, questions? Thank you. If there's any. You go ahead if you haven't. That's true. That's true.
Objective, so.
Yeah, I forgot to mention something which may be an answer to your question. So during that interview, you receive a task. It's sent out to you a few hours or a few days before your interview takes place. You need to prepare for that interview. And there are several professors asking you questions about your interview task. So this also helps to make the final decision. I mean, this is also an academic part of the decision. Subjective, yes, I can't say no, but this is why we require many documents, many information about you so that we can make a proper decision.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What are the average acceptance rates?
35%. 35%. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what is it that you as a university look into the incoming graduates? The perfect candidate, what would the profile be?
Yeah, I asked my colleagues to reply if they can. What is a perfect candidate for us? This is the question.
That's a great and very philosophical question. That I can only speak from the view of DSS, which is the program that I'm responsible for. So it would be someone who is interested in the social sciences, but also has sort of a math or data background, so to speak. So what that means is someone who might have had some advanced math classes or math background, but is also interested in things like sociology or economics or something along those lines. I mean, in terms of the candidate, I've sat in on some of the interviews, and it's really, we like to take an all-encompassing look at the profile of the student. So your grades play into things, your motivational letter and your application essay play into things, and then also the interview plays into things. So we like to take a comprehensive look at the student. So it's someone who can fulfill all those qualities, so to speak.
Thank you, Matt. Any others? Yeah, in the back.
So the template on the website about the CV is very dry. And I watched a video explaining what kind of CV we should write. And in that video, they said that I should add all kind of like what it gave to my personality.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a plus.
So,
You should list as much things as you can. It's not required, but it's a good point if you can.
and should I write like a lot of things under a certain thing I did? Or
Well, a template is just, a basic template for those who have not had experience in writing those in the past. That could be a baseline. The more personality you bring in, the better. If you can elaborate on several points, that's good. But then remember that we are reading so many applications that can over a lot of information might be too much. So several points underneath of each experience would definitely bring in a value, especially if it's not clear from the title what exactly you've been doing. And feel free to upload your own template or whatever you feel like. But again, for those who are at a loss, this should be, should be a help in a way.
And also the essay, can the essay be more than 500 words or?
Now there we ask to stay in limits, like in the maximum word numbers.
Good. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. How many students are you looking to accept for next year? Roughly?
We can accept maximum 35 students per class every year. That's our cap. That's the
You
maximum.
plan on increasing that on the next
Not
years?
until we're still here in this building. We have limits into space availability. So for now, it will remain like this. And should we grow, then we might double classes in ATS. Not upcoming year though.
You mentioned accepting high school certificates.
Mhm.
Does it have to be the first 3 years? I didn't quite catch that.
If you haven't finished, 3 full years. So if you are in your 4th year, please submit the 3 fourth year. But if you have already finished, you can submit your last year as well. So we need to see 3 full years, whatever they are.
Whatever years.
Yeah. If if you have finished high school already, the best if you submit your last year's transcript as well.
Okay, thank you.
So as in when you have 12 years, you submit year 9, 10, and 11 because you're still in year 12, so you can't submit that year, right?
Yeah.
You might have a predicted grade, which you can submit, but a lot of schools don't even submit predicted grades, so then it would be year 9, 10, and 11 as an example. If you
Because
have that-
sorry,
Yeah,
I
go
come
ahead.
from a different country and
Yes.
it's a different system
So
there.
how many years do you have?
I'm in the last year and it's like a 5-year program.
Okay.
for
So
me.
then out of those 5, you're in year 5, then it would mean 2, 3, 4, right?
Right,
2,
okay.
3, 4. And then for those who already finished high school, we would like to see, if I go back to the 12-year example, 10, 11, 12. If that makes sense.
No, always submit 3 years that are always finished and are the last ones. If it's clear like this. Okay.
Question
Yeah.
in the back?
I'm also completing an associate's degree alongside my high school diploma. I probably won't be complete with it by the time that I am applying. So would I just do the same thing as my high school diploma and submit the 3 years that I've done?
Yes, exactly. And certificate of enrollment, if you can also use all. Yeah.
If you did 2 high school diplomas, do you submit both of them?
I think so. It can be useful. Yeah, it's not mandatory, but you can. Yes, of course.
What is the average rate of those candidates who get financial aid usually?
You mean the grades, the average of
No.
how many students?
Students.
Yeah, sorry.
20%.
I see.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Would that be a problem if one of the last 3 years are a language year? It's a language year.
No. But you mean you are in a bilingual school or something like this?
No, I had an extra year of language where I only studied Spain and a few other classes. And a few other classes.
Is that part of your high school program?
Yes, it is.
Yes. And if we're missing something and we require something else, we will let you know.
It can always be more. Never submit less than 3 years, but you can submit more than 3 years.
I guess it also depends on how you look at your grades, right? For the person who has 2 high school diplomas. For example, you might want to submit just the one that you feel most comfortable with, where the grades are the best, instead of submitting both, where we have to compare and look at both of, they might be different systems, and then we have to, mix and match. So it would be best to just submit your best, the one you feel most comfortable with in submitting. I would suggest doing it that way.
Yeah, I had a question regarding the PPE. So how mathematics focused is the economics part?
That's a great question for afterwards. I believe- so after,
has something to
oh, okay.
Yeah, so I also moonlight as the PPE coordinator, so I can sort of cover this question. The mathematical, I guess how mathematics plays into the program is in your first year, you'll have it's called Foundations or Fundamentals of Mathematics and Data Analysis. So it's like a basic intro to math course, as well as how to work with data. And then depending on if you choose economics, then you're naturally going to have a little bit more math, which will go into intro to statistics, and then also introduction to econometrics, which is a sort of statistical look at economics. So that's sort of, there's also, if you want to do more math, there's opportunities to do more math as well with linear algebra and then also calculus. But it just depends on kind of what you want to do.
Good. Any other questions? No? Well, if you do have any questions afterwards, tomorrow, the week after today, that's our email address. Just a quick trivia question. When is the deadline?
February 1st or April 15th.
There we go. Perfect.
You passed it.
Good. Okay, so the sessions are finished. We do have a mini fair set up in the cafeteria. All of the departments will be there. We also have a career services stand. We have an admissions stand and also an undergraduate stand with a bunch of people that you can ask questions to if you have any other further questions, because sometimes it's more comfortable when you speak one-on-one with someone. You know, it's for those who are shy. But yeah, feel free to roam around, go to the cafeteria and ask me questions. So I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. It's so neat. Oh, I just it's so neat. I would never try to do Oh, thank you. It was like pretty MySpacey. Really? Yeah, it's very MySpacey cringe, and it just grew out, and now I can't control it. And but it looks really cute. It's like Tao, like tea, but in Hungarian. Tao. I'm sorry, my Tao. Okay, Tao. Really? It's very good. Yeah, like Linz, you know Linz? Yeah, I've been there, yeah. I think once. My dad lives in Vienna, so I sometimes, very rarely. I live in Hungary, but I'm Afghani in Hungary. Why? My mom works here. Really? Yeah, she works at CEU, and she was like, "Oh, you're coming." I was like, "Oh, okay." My dad actually doesn't approve of me coming here. He works here too. He teaches in CEU, yeah, at CEU. He's like, "You're not coming here." Like, I want to though. I sat here and I'm like kind of convinced that this guy I went to a very small high school, very private, like art school. I don't know. I went to a Waldorf school. I don't know if you know about Waldorf. Yeah, it's like where you can I mean, we call it like in Austria, school is kind of like very spiritual. Yeah, very spiritual. We have these like spiritual dance classes. So cool. My school did not have any of that. It's like normal, like.
Na stránkách jsem psal, že ta škola je jenom pro lidi mimo Evropu. Kdo to rozděluje ještě
Like an international like and stuff, but it's public. It had like the aesthetics of like no, not at all. It had like the spirit, like it tried to be one, but it just didn't. It was just a lot more messy. The aesthetic or the anything or the funding or the. That's for English something. Yeah, because like it was. You must have said when you were listening to US or something. Your accent's so particular in English. No, until Anna came, I think it was right there. You have to say it, and then you can tell that's not wrong.
Merken Sie nicht
Yeah, real questions, kind of. I know that's yeah, you were Yes. What is at the fair? I don't know what the fair is.
Folytatja, jól értelmeztem valamit.